Welcome to the Fayetteville Fire Podcast, your source for all the fire, safety, and sometimes random information you never knew you wanted. I'm Captain Steve Shakeshaft, your host for the podcast, and I got the best job ever. Let's talk about it. What's going on, Chief? How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. I wanted to have you on. We have spent a lot of time together in the last couple months. I didn't really get to know you that well over the years.
But you still don't know me. You'll know me better today.
Getting to know you a little bit better. But first and foremost, go ahead and introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Okay, my name is Josh Hopkins. I'm the Assistant Chief of Special Operations on Fort Bragg, as well as serve on the executive board for the Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association.
And we talk a lot in the podcast and in radio interviews about our partnership with Cumberland County and surrounding agencies. And a lot of people don't realize that Fort Bragg is included in that partnership, even though,
That's right.
We're local, county's county, Fort Bragg's feds. But you've been around how many years? How many years you been with Bragg?
Here at Fort Bragg, I've been here for 14 years.
Okay. All right. So I've been around 20. We've watched this relationship grow and change and progressively get better.
Right.
So what does that kind of look like as far as when we respond? I mean, I know the answer, but as far as when we respond together, how that works?
Well, truth is, Fort Bragg has 9 mutual aid agreements with a number of counties, a number of organizations to include Fayetteville Fire Department. These are reciprocal mutual aid agreements that allow us to receive resources from you guys as well as to give resources to you guys. So it's really a great relationship that I've been in the military fire department for since 96, close to 30 years. During that time, I've worked at a number of different installations, and none of them do it as effectively as the mutual aid agreements that are here. It's a very good give and take type relationship from special activities as well as just the normal day in and day out structural firefighting type responses.
I didn't even think about, when I was mentally preparing for this podcast, I didn't think about the fact that Fort Bragg has, 5 counties or however many counties it is.
Every single surrounding county that touches the landscape of Fort Bragg, we have mutual aid agreements with.
We regularly go out to Hope County and help them. Sometimes we go down to Robeson County. Rarely we get up into Harnett County, but y'all have a much bigger footprint than we do.
That's right. It's really kind of a unique thing that we try to cultivate. We empower our captains and those that are out at Camp McCall to make those relationships and build those bonds so that the first time that you're not meeting another officer from a different organization is on the day of a fire or a medical response or whatever the case may be. So they train together. We try to cultivate that with all of our mutual aid partners, especially in Cumberland County.
Heck, we just did some training together 2 days ago. We're constantly having y'all out for our multi-company evolutions. So like you said, it's that cultivation that's continuing to get better and better every year. And it creates unique challenges, as one of our previous council members used to say, being the largest neighbor to the largest military installation in the world.
That's right.
We have risks that cross over. We have hazards that cross over. We have goals that cross over because your success is our success, and vice versa. So it's a unique relationship, but a pretty awesome one. So one of the things you talked about is that cultivation outside of the emergency scene. And over the years, I have had the pleasure to attend the Fort Bragg annual ball out there on base. How did that come about? How many years has that been going before we even get into what we're talking about today?
I'd be guessing. I would assume that it's relatively young. I would say within the past 5 or 6 years has kind of been when we had started one. And initially it was an annual thing, and then we've kind of shied away from it to more of a every other year type of event.
Okay. All right. And we like to focus a lot on mental health and a lot on cultivating those relationships with each other outside of the emergency, because let's face it, when you're putting your lives in someone else's hand, it's more than a business relationship.
That's
exactly we need
right.
to know each other. We need to trust each other. And one thing at the last ball that I was at for y'all, there was probably equal amounts Fort Bragg as there was Fayetteville and Cumberland County. Am I right?
There was a large group from those external to Fort Bragg, and we wanted it that way.
Yeah.
We don't want it just to be, on our own little island. And that was my experience. That was my personal experience from other installations that I've worked at. That fence was more than just a physical barrier. It was a emotional barrier. It was a mental barrier. It was everything. Internally was our problem. Externally was somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Very rarely did we cross those gates for social engagements, much less for an actual emergency response.
And we've been talking about for months a way to create this Cumberland County Firefighters Ball to be inclusive of all emergency responders.
Sure.
And just a week or two ago, we got invited by a military police brigade to come and be a part of their ball. So this is not just something we're thinking of. Everybody's thinking of first responders. We work together. We work with the MPs on 295. We work with Fort Bragg all over the place. And that was a really cool event. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Sure, that was an awesome event. That was hosted by the 16th MP Brigade, and Colonel Gia Cantanero did an amazing job putting things together. There was a huge crowd. I think numerically, the last I was told is that there were 570 attendees. Matter of fact, they had to increase the footprint of the conference center to accommodate all of the people that wanted to come. It was a great event, highly attended. Numerically, ratios might have been more military police, 80% to 25. But the goal is that Colonel G has communicated is that he wants it to be more of a first responder ball, not just a military MP ball.
And we got the invite to that well after we were planning what I brought you here to talk about today.
That's correct.
And that is the 2026 Cumberland County
inaugural,
the very first Cumberland County Firefighters Ball.
Correct.
We are excited for that, coming up on October
17th. October 17th. Yep. Hosted by the embassy or through the embassy.
Embassy Suites.
Correct.
Right? And the Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association, we talked that a lot of people don't think that Fort Bragg is as part of that as they are, but they are.
Sure,
you
absolutely.
sit on that board.
I do. Yes,
so the Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association has supported this concept. They have really helped us. I don't know what the word is. Continue to cultivate. I keep using that word, but they've supported us in planning this out, and we thank them so much for that. So it's not going to be just Fort Bragg. It's not going to be Fayetteville be invited to Fort Bragg. It is, if you are an emergency responder in Cumberland County, this is for you. Am I right?
That is correct. Yep. The Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association doesn't just represent the 18 fire departments, volunteer fire departments in Cumberland County, as much as it includes all those that would find themselves on the side of a highway or resources at a structure fire, be it the Red Cross, be it support agencies, to include the state troopers, as well as Fayetteville PD, as well as Cumberland County Sheriff's Office.
Cape Fear Valley EMS.
That's right.
Is on
EMS as well. Absolutely. Yep. We want to be all inclusive. At the end of the day, we're all standing shoulder to shoulder on an emergency scene. Might be wearing a different uniform, but our needs are the same.
Yeah, I was having a conversation the other day. Police Week is coming up in May, and I was telling somebody, I was like, other than the everyday traffic stop and other than the everyday EMS call, heart attack, if you see a fire truck, you see a cop and an ambulance.
That's
if
right.
you see an ambulance, you see a fire truck and a cop. We go everywhere together.
That's right. Absolutely.
And the same thing goes when we're crossing from, different jurisdictions of the fire service. We all work together too. So super excited for that. But in that planning process, putting this on has been no small undertaking. And I came in not at the start of it. I was invited in to help y'all market it and work on some things. So who or how did this really come together as we're going to do this? We're going to pull the trigger and do this. How did that all happen?
Well, it's kind of a passion of mine, more than just a ball, more than just a party. I don't want the focus to be on an event, a single one-time event, a timestamp, if you will, that we got together, as much as the goal of this ball is to foster community. At the end of the day, we are standing shoulder to shoulder, and just like you alluded to, that there's no emergency that you're not working side by side with these different entities. In so doing, you're also being exposed to the same crisis, the same trauma, the same potential pain that may come from that experience. And what we often do, especially in this fire service, because that's my realm of experience, I want to speak from there. We get into our vehicles. We often talk about that call, maybe between that 4-man engine crew. On the way back to the station, we sit down at the table, we break bread together. We talk about that call, we express what we experienced, we talk about it the day later, 2 days, whatever. There's communication that takes place that's real easy in the fire service. It's not so easy in a two-man EMS crew. They're having to continue maybe the pain of patient care long after everybody else has left the scene. Or the police officer that predominantly operates as an autonomous unit, he's going to get back into his car all by himself, go back to his area of responsibility, his district, his beat, and just sit there and wait for the next call for service or wait for the next traffic violation all by himself. And I think that we would do a disservice to all of our first responders by not creating an environment and fostering a safe environment to talk about, man, that call was awful. That experience was terrible. And creating a safe place for them to, between the ranks, between the organizations, just to come together, not just in a formal setting. We're good at that from CISDs and crisis response. The Cumberland County does a great job at that. I think that we do a pretty good job at that as well on Fort Bragg, and we're a bit more inclusive to certain events. We'll include dispatchers, we'll include the military police for whenever we do a crisis response, just so they can play a part. But what about the smaller departments? What about the smaller organizations and our volunteer departments that these firefighters, they have full-time jobs. They have lives that are separate from a full-time paid firefighter or emergency responder. So they have to kind of push that pause button on that event or that scenario and go back to the real world. What resources are in place for them? What assistance, what aid, what emotional support is in place for them? Yeah. And that's what this ball is all about.
And I think too, it's like you said, you have those formal settings. The city of Fayetteville has our peer support team and our chaplains corps, and all those things are great. But how many times in my 20 years, I hear more and more often, I don't even know that guy. There's 350 of us. How many firefighters are there on base?
We're sitting at 150 now.
So 150 firefighters on base, 350 in the city, probably another 500 or 600 between all the different agencies surrounding us.
At least, if not more.
And a lot of the folks who have been here 20 years like us are looking at some of these new folks coming in, and we don't even know who they are.
Right.
So events like this are opportunities for us to come together and get to know the wife and get to know who you important. Are as a person. We're a big enough agency to be and I still speak for Fayetteville, to be the ISO Class 1 internationally accredited professional agency that we are. We're big enough to be that, but we're small enough for the chief to know your first name.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
I think that's important.
Yeah.
To kind of stick with that train of thought. When you know the ins and outs, the intricacies of a family and their dynamic, you know when there's a need. You see it on his or her face. It's not just after a terrible event as much as it is you see it at the dinner table at breakfast the next morning. You know them intimately enough to know, everything's not okay. Yeah. How can I encourage you today? How can I help you today? Not just go about business as usual, but you seem burdened. Pull them aside and have that real conversation. If you didn't know them, you couldn't do that. Yeah. You certainly couldn't do it effectively. And I think that's kind of the downfall of a lot of the, I'm involved with the North Carolina Fallen Firefighter Foundation, and I've responded to a number of departments following firefighter fatalities and different things like that. Well, when I show up, I'm a stranger. Nobody knows me. Yeah. So to start without any emotional connecting points is very difficult to be effective to meet the needs of those firefighters, those first responders, and their point of crisis and their point of need, because I'm just a stranger. Yeah. And we want to eliminate the stranger premise, if you will.
I got you. It's been hard for me coming to administration, and I jump calls and I'll be out on a scene helping somebody out because I was in the area, and I find myself in that situation like, who are these medics?
Right.
All the ones I came up with are all administration now at EMS or administration at another fire department, and I find myself in that boat. So I'm super looking forward to the event.
Yeah, I'm excited
as just another tool in the toolbox and another resource for us to get out and connect with each other. So where are we at in the process right now? This isn't till October.
Right.
We've been working on it for, what would you say, about 6 months now?
Probably, yeah.
Already in for about 6 months putting it. This is no small undertaking.
No, it has been quite the heavy lift for sure.
Where are we at? We just We just did a raffle.
We did.
The first raffle has wrapped up. We will continue to do some more raffles for fundraising. Where are we at in the process of putting everything together?
Right now, we're still in the fundraising stage, and kind of the premise behind that, we could sell tickets, and if we sold tickets at a pretty substantial price point, we wouldn't have to raise any money whatsoever. It would kind of absorb the cost. But again, if our goal is to support our first responders, then I want it to be as economically feasible for them to attend without excuse. If we sell tickets and break even monetarily, we'd have to sell tickets for $100 a piece. That's a lot for a couple to come and attend an event when they potentially have other expenses, whether it's childcare or lodging or whatever the case may be, to come here and participate in the event. So we're really working hard to offset that number to make it as economical as possible within the confines of what money that we've been able to raise, at least, so that they don't have an excuse to attend.
Yeah, and if anybody is listening to this is an opportunity to really invest in your community. If whether you're a small business owner or a big business owner, there is no amount too small. We have kind of set things up in a tiered process where it goes anywhere from $200 to $10,000, anywhere in the spectrum,
or more. If you want to give more, we'll happily accept it.
And this gives you the opportunity to turn around and invest in your community, but also put your name out there, because we're gonna offer, making sure that people know who is supporting.
We do want to honor your contributions, for sure.
Yeah, so we're going to make sure that everybody who contributes is recognized for that. And when you have over, I would say probably right at 1,000 firefighters in all of Cumberland County, when you put everybody together, that's
just firefighters.
Probably 1,000 firefighters. That's 1,000 firefighters to patronize your business, and knowing that you supported us and we want to support you for that. So we're working on that fundraising. Once we get through this fundraising period, what can people expect at the event itself?
Well, truth is, this event will be much different than most. If you look at a traditional firefighters ball, military ball, whatever kind of ball that you want to segue into, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance, and I don't want to distract from traditions. Those are very important. But if our goal is to honor and show love to the firefighter, then that's where the focus is going to be. How can we encourage the first responder? How can we uplift them? And part of everything that we're going to do will be for that purpose and that purpose alone. Everything is going to be, this is a red carpet event. This ain't just some shindig party with a DJ.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
All those things will be present, of course. Yep. But we're putting all the fanfare out just to, celebrate the firefighter, celebrate the first responder in whatever vocation. They're important. They're important to the lives of this community, and we want to be able to show that love back to them.
And I can imagine some firefighters hearing red carpet event and saying, "Oh, I don't want to put on that suit." But let me tell you something. If you are thinking that and you have a wife or a girlfriend at the house,
yep, she wants you to put that suit on.
She wants you to put that suit on,
That's right.
She wants to put that gown on.
She wants to celebrate you too.
Yeah, 110%, for
That's
sure,
right.
for sure. So I think of events that we have that are a lot of times focused on the family, and we have, the chair, and trying to, we spend a lot of time trying to explain to the people there what's happening. We don't have to do that here. This is about lifting you up. This is about celebrating you. Super excited for that. And where can people go to get information about this as far as the fundraising phase? We'll get to tickets in a minute. But I do believe there is a website that folks can go to and get information on the event.
That is correct. If I had that information in front of me, I would certainly give it to you in this setting. Right now, information for fundraising is just being funneled through me. The team, the committee itself, has done a tremendous job at trying to get that information out into the hands, but for the state purposes as well as the tax deductions, all those are being funneled through me and the foundation. The Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association Foundation, Inc. is the nonprofit that in essence is holding the bills for everything going on. So all the money funnels through them, and then back to the firefighter for any of the tax-related purposes.
And I just looked up, it is CCFCA. ccfcaball.com.
That's right. Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association Ball.
Ball.com. ccfcaball.com, where you can go and you can learn about the event, everything that's happened. There is a link for sponsor information. Right now, the link has both the people who have already sponsored the event, so their logos are already up there, and it also has a link for you to donate, sponsor, or make contact with yourself and the rest of the committee. So you have the option to already go ahead and look. When are tickets actually going on sale?
That's a great question. We have kind of held off. You'll remember in a number of the meetings that we've had, we've talked about tickets quite a bit. It used to be back the first of the year, that's what we were going to start going live with tickets. January 1st, go live with tickets. But we didn't raise what we wanted to be able to offset the ticket price. So we pushed that back to June the 1st. Tickets go live June the 1st. And we won't stop fundraising, but we will stop with the ticket price.
Lock in the price.
We're going to lock in the price, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll hold off on announcing the ticket price until we get a little bit closer. But like you said, what we want to do is get that as most affordable as possible.
That is the goal. That is the goal.
So keep an eye out for that. It's the Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association, ccfcaball.com. There's a little bit of a weird thing. If you Google it, it's going to say 2024 in the Google link, but it is 2026. When you click on it, you'll see it. Mm-hmm. You'll see it update. It's just a little bit of a technology weird thing there. But is there anything else that I missed that you want to touch on for this awesome event that we have coming up? And we'll have more to come on it in the future as well.
I think what's really cool to note, when the inquiry first went out, I sent out a message to all the fire departments in Cumberland County, to include Fayetteville, and the outpouring of people that were interested in being a part of it, at least in regards to the committee, has really been tremendous. I'm excited about what the team is doing. They certainly have a heart and a passion to love on the first responders of this county, and it is so very evident in regards to the outpouring of support that they've even experienced, and I don't want to say going door to door, but in essence going from business to business, asking for resources, and it's just been tremendous. So kudos, thanks to the team, thanks to the Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association for kind of giving us a thumbs up, the pat on the back to move forward, and the generous seed money to get us started and at least lock in some things. So first off, thanks to all of those guys. But to conclude in an appropriate manner, our goal is to honor firefighters and first responders. So thank you even today. Thank you all the men and women that give of themselves. It's not just a job. It's not just a paycheck. It is a calling that they have been pouring out as long as they serve their communities, as long as they've been actively involved. And it's been tremendous to be able to see that and experience that. As I've progressed through the ranks, it's really kind of a weird transition. You're no longer one of the guys as being a chief officer. You kind of are. But what's cool about being a chief officer is you get to sit on the sidelines and you get to watch the show. And frankly, it's an awesome show to watch.
It is. And I really get to tell the story. That's what I love about my job.
I love it. Yeah. I really do. I don't get to run into burning houses anymore like I used to. Those times are past. But to be able to just sit and watch the teamwork, the camaraderie, and how chaos is turned to simplistic decision making on scenes of these terrible events, it's really an orchestra that's beautiful to sit back and watch. And I'm just excited to be a part of it.
I was out on the boat on Tuesday, and as we were coming back to the shore, I saw you sitting there, just sitting on the edge of the dock.
I love just sitting back and
watching it.
I do.
So you mentioned just the thank yous now and the thank yous every day. I've probably shared this story on the podcast before, but I had a captain back before I became an officer, and we had painted hydrants all day. Everybody was miserable. Everybody was tired, and it was like 7 o'clock at night. And he said, "Guys, get in the engine. Let's go." It's like, "Where are we going?" "Shut up, get in the engine, let's go." And he went and bought us all cookout milkshakes.
Those are the best.
It wasn't a $50,000 ball. It wasn't a $1,000 bonus in my paycheck. It was a simple thank you a simple milkshake goes the farthest way. Now, obviously, we're trying to plan this beautiful event, and we do want those things as well, but make sure if you are listening to this as a company officer or a leader in your organization, those simple thank yous go the long way, and we're hoping to plan a big thank you for you.
That's right.
Coming up in the near future.
To include cookout strawberry milkshakes, if that's possible. Cookout, if you're listening. I love strawberry, just saying.
I'm a chocolate guy myself, but... All right, Chief. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come down and join us. And thank you for joining us on the Fayetteville Fire Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to Radio Fayetteville on all your favorite streaming platforms to listen to all of our podcasts. Join us again next month, but until then, stay safe, Fayetteville.